I can talk to Ross Bauer now. He's on the line with us. He was in the number 3 car, so the 3rd car before the terminal there. And what, Ross, in like the 3rd or 4th seat, is that right, when all this happened?
That's correct, Shep.
So what did you hear? What were you thinking?
Yeah, we were pulling into the station, like any normal morning, and then all of a sudden there was a, jolted out of our seats. There was a very loud crash. You first thought you think explosion or something like that. Turns out it was just the roof of the terminal that collapsed, and then, everyone was kind of sitting there in stunned silence for a minute.
I know that 4th car got diagonal on them. What happened with your car? Did it stay on the tracks?
It did seem to stay on the tracks, and we were able to exit through the normal doors. It looked like the train directly in front of us, was diagonal. So
that number 2 car?
Right.
And so what you said, you walked out like normal. I guess the doors open, you walked out. What did you see?
Yeah, I mean, we looked up the platform. The whole thing was collapsed. The train had clearly, derailed off the tracks, and you could see that, the roof of the terminal had collapsed. There were people, climbing out of the emergency exit windows. It was pretty crazy to see.
I wondered if you saw victims who were in bad shape.
On the way out of the terminal, they directed us around, and I went out to the rest area, and there, they were staging some people who were injured. There was, I saw one man who was, very visibly injured. He had blood coming out of his, his head and his arms, and he was being tended to. And then, going out of the station, you could see blood on the ground. It was pretty horrifying.
Ross, I know that first car went airborne, and there were people hurt in there. There were people hurt in the 2nd car. But in your car, describe in your car, was it not as much as we've heard about in the first 2, I would guess?
Yeah, we were all jolted out of our seats. So some people who were standing waiting to exit the train, they had some cuts in their foreheads, things like that, but nothing serious like, we've seen with people who were up front.
I'm wondering how people were acting, because it's such a matter of routine. You get on New Jersey Transit, you get off that, you get on the path, you go into the city. You do it all just sort of without thinking about it. And when something weird like this happens, I wonder, was it chaos? Was it more measured?
Yeah, it was, it was kind of surreal. You're looking around, you're stunned, first of all, and, your first instinct is like, I want to help somebody. And, everything's kind of under control. There's tons of police already in the building, just, for normal security. So they were on the scene immediately helping people. So you just kind of, a lot of people were just milling around, taking their pictures and everything, of course. But, it seemed everyone was stunned.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you wouldn't be. Were people able to get it together and get down to the PATH train or go to the ferries, or was it so jumbled that you couldn't really make that happen?
Yeah, I mean, the entrance to the PATH train was completely cut off. I heard that you couldn't get in there. I'm not sure about that, but me, I just had to turn around, and I live upstate New Jersey. I just went back home. There was no way to get into the city at that point.
Right. Well, it sounds like I guess if you'd been in that first car, it'd be a whole different story. I never even thought about. I get on a car based on when you get off, where my exit stairs are.
Right.
On New Jersey Transit, you're all going to have to walk to the end of the platform, so you kind of want to be as close to the front as possible, or you used to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, me, I kind of like sitting in the back, so it paid off today.
I feel you. It's a longer walk, but it sounds like it's safer. Ross, it's really good to talk to you. I'm glad you're good. Ross Bauer with us from North Jersey.